Welcome back. I realized that after I started making my video, my microphone wasn't working, so the battery was dead, and now I'm going to try and catch up. So today we're going to install this Patriot Alston 52-inch ceiling fan. I have already taken down the light fixture, and I already took it outside, but we're going to install that and possibly this Patriot ceiling fan remote. A couple things to cover before we start. First of all, make sure your power is off to your light socket. You can just shut off your switch, is what most people would think to do, but there's a lot of risk in that. Somebody walks in while you're working with wires, turns on the switch, you're going to get electrocuted. So you should definitely go to your breaker box. This is the instructions. So if you go through the instructions, that's like the first or second step. First step is check and make sure you got all the parts. That only makes sense, although I never do it. And then step one, go to your circuit breaker and turn off your lighting or your switch. If you don't know where your circuit breaker is, you'll have to look around. This is an actual breaker box. You'll flip the switch off. You could, if you're in an older house, you could have the old fuse panels that you screw the fuse into. If you're dealing with that, you're probably dealing with more problems than just the fuse box. You're probably dealing with only 2 wires and no ground wire and all kinds of issues, so good luck on that one. As you can tell, the second step is to mount the bracket up to the ceiling. This is the brackets it is referencing. I've already unpacked everything. I have, as I said, the power shut off. The one thing I'll say before we start installing is I want to be able to control my fan and my light. This only has one set of wires up there, a black, a white, and a ground. If you have a red wire in there or another set, this switch is a smart switch. It did used to have 2 regular light switches, but the second switch, instead of going to the ceiling fan, actually went down behind my dresser there and controlled the outlet on the wall. So it did not control my ceiling. It wasn't already made for a ceiling fan. It's just made for a regular light fixture. So what I'll do is I want to be able to control the lights and the fan separately. A couple different options to be able to do that. I'm going to probably install this remote for my fan, assuming it fits in there alright. I assume it will. With the fan comes these standard LED bulbs, and if I install the remote, then I'll be able to control the light on, off, dim it, and same thing with the fan, just by using the remote. Plus, if I want, through the smart switch, I can just say, hey Google, shut this off, and it'll shut.
You'll need to give me some more information. You can do that in the Google Home app.
So it could shut total power off, but that's just an on-off switch in the story. The other option is if you don't want to do the remote, or for some reason it doesn't fit, you can go ahead and install the fan and use a light like this, which is a Philip Hughes light, smart light bulb. If you do something like that, you can still use your voice-enabled devices to control it. So you can say dim the lights by 50%, you can say shut the lights off. You wouldn't be able to control the fan besides turn it on and off. So you'd have to use the pull chain to turn the fan to whatever speed you like, and then if you want to turn it off, you could turn it off at the main switch, assuming you want the lights off at the same time. But you could, in a way, just put smart light bulbs in, keep the fan on, and then if you're laying in bed, you want to go to sleep or something, and you just want to shut the lights off, you could just do it through the smart bulbs. I prefer to have the remote control where I can change the speed of the fan, turn it on and off, dim the lights, turn the lights on and off, do whatever I want without having to get up. Plus the smart switch on the wall allows me to direct it if I'm down in the basement and I decide I remember the lights are on upstairs. I can just tell it to shut them off and it'll do it remotely. So I like having both. That's my goal. And now we're going to try and hang this sucker. This may be some of the most important part. One thing you'll learn is if you do DIY or you buy furniture at IKEA or anywhere else, this is a ceiling fan from Menards, and the instructions are pretty lousy usually. So like it doesn't tell you exactly how to mount this. It says mount the mounting bracket. So this is our mounting bracket. I'm going to point us up here. And hopefully, actually maybe if I zoom in, it'll be better for you. Wish I was one of those YouTubers that had somebody videoing for me. So this, we want to mount it here. There's two little holes. I don't know if you can see them. There's two holes here. This is this junction box, or I don't know what box you want to call it. This box actually is designed to go over the stud in the ceiling, the ceiling joist, and so it's actually over it, and then in these two holes they screw up into it. Can't stand those, but it does give lots of support for your ceiling fan. So that's the good news. If this was just in the middle, you would need to kind of check and see if you had the proper support for a ceiling fan. Being mounted to the stud, I know it does. I know that these wires have to go through this middle hole. I have the power shut off, so I'm good there. If you ever scared, just like hit something really quick. Make sure it won't shock you. So I'm using these long screws in mine. Again, terrible about giving you instructions. However, this is what I'm going to use. Put it in there. There's two little slots here. No, not going to. Oh yeah, I am. Okay, that fits. So get that there. Put in this slot. Get it lined up to this other hole. Never easy. Okay, that's good and snug. My wires are still hanging out, barely, but they're there. You'll see I use a impact driver a lot. Probably not supposed to, but I like to get things done fast. Got to be really careful though that you don't strip things out or break them. So we mounted that. The next step is to get this up here. It goes in these holes, it slides in this slot here, latches into here, and you screw it up to there. It's got to take these screws off first. I went ahead and opened up the remote because I do want to use it. So basically, when I hang this up there, I went ahead and took these brackets off. They were here with these screws. These are going to go in those slots up there. But once I hang this up, I got to try and fit this remote somewhere in here so that it's enclosed. And then what'll happen are red, blue, and white, or black, white, and blue, black, white, and blue. Red and white will go to black and white up there. This is actually your antenna. Don't mistake that as a wire and pull your end off. That's an antenna. And then the green wire on the fan itself will go to the ground wire in the ceiling. So these three will go to the remote. This will go to the box. These two will go to the box, and these three will go to the fan. And then I just got to make sure and figure out how to get it into the space. So let's get that part hung up there. Raise this up. Okay, let's take these off. So you have to kind of rock it in, slide this side up in and past the groove, and then lift this side up and slide it in, and then there's two little notches here that go in these grooves. And then I'm going to put the screws back in to secure it. I might have to turn the video around so you can see the wires, but on this side I'm just going to connect the ground wire, and then these, I'll have to move the camera so you can see that maybe. Actually, I'm going to take this down, put these wires in front so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. Wires are in front. I can't see them, but hopefully you can. So first things first, let's mount this and secure it first. Make sure my holes are lined up. Alright, bleeding a little, that's always a good sign. Guaranteed to bleed a little. Almost have to. Getting all that good and secure. So the mounting screws up here that mount to this, the screws here mounting this, having that all good and secure is ultra important because number one, you don't want it to fall on you. But number two, if you even have it a little loose and it doesn't fall, it can wobble a lot, which is annoying to me. Now, they didn't give me much wire here. When they put this thing in and originally. And push the screen wire back, which is the ground wire. Get it lined up with the bare wire and the ceiling, which is the ground wire for the ceiling. Put a wire nut on it if I can. This wire nut might not be big enough. Yeah, okay. So I got the green wire connected to the bare wire in the ceiling. That's the ground. Then I got to try to get this connected. So I don't want to set this on top of here because this is the part that'll be spinning. The fans will connect here, 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 and here. This will all be spinning. So I gotta get this somewhere. In theory, it could possibly slide here. Not a lot of space there. Now look at that job. What I did, so I got everything wired the way that we talked about. I set the remote up here. So if you think about what's going to happen, this slides on to these brackets. I'll have to take the screws out to make it sit, but it's just going to be in there. So this can float in there just fine. There's enough room. But it can't be touching this, and the wires can't be touching this, or you'll hear it when it's spinning. So I use zip ties to hold the receiver up there, and I put some zip ties around loosely around some of the wires so that it would keep them bundled up, and it keep the wires from touching the part that spins. So I guess technically the remote's installed. After you do the wire, then you're supposed to put on the cover I just talked about. So let's try this out. If you look real close here, this has got a notch, so you take that screw out, this screw over here out, leave these out just a little so there's space, and then you slide this up over that screw and over this screw, and then you turn it just a little, and that holds it. And then I can actually fasten it down. If I can find the other screw. It's always the challenge. Setting a dark colored screw on a dark colored comforter seems kind of stupid. There it is. Put this one in. Okay. So with those two secure, I can check the spinning. Oh, look there, still spins. Tighten this part down. Obviously, you have to put this on before you put the blades on. Or else you would never get this part on. So that's all secure. Next thing it says to do are the actual fans themselves. Let's back this off. So it's up there. Now we're going to install the fans. And I will pause the video while I put the little, so these are all the little things that go on the blade. I'll wrap them. So these are your blade holders, if you will. And then you might think there's 2 screws here, 2 screws here. It doesn't actually go in those. One blade goes in this and this. So there's 2 screws side by side, but each blade actually uses one over here, then over here. So it's a little tricky trying to get those out. Also, most ceiling fans have, I don't know if you can tell it, 2 different colors. So I'll use this because it matches my room a little bit better. So the darker color, you won't see the light color. If I wanted the light color, I could do this. So actually I'm going to think about which color I want to do. Then I'm going to mount this like so. Put a screw right there to hold it, and then mount it up here. So you want the color that you want to show to be on the side of your bracket. Okay? Alright, so I have this side showing with the bracket on. See, you just put everything in the holes there, line it up, and then put 1 screw in to hold it. Then you're just going to line it up to one of these. I've taken all these screws out, but one I just wanted to show you. The screws are already in it. If you use a long screwdriver, it's a little bit easier. Try to get over here where you can see it. And then you got to kind of hold this thing because it won't spin while you're unscrewing it. Once you get it loose, then it's not too bad. So I took all of these screws out, and they're kind of a beveled oval head, so they fit into the fan good. This right here is your switch. It'll spin it reverse, clockwise or reverse, depending whether you want to suck air up or push air down. So now that we got one of these together, I'll go ahead and try to mount it up, and so you can see before I do all of them. when you're doing everything by yourself, you got to learn how to hold things. So like I'll put this, if you have the right size screwdriver, it'll hold the screw. And then as you saw on that one, I took the bracket and put it in here, and I can use that to guide to hit the hole and start tightening it. And then it's just a matter of lining this side up with the hole. Tight. Tight. There you go. That's one. Got 4 more to put together and put up, and then we're good to go. All lined up. Because these are beveled edges, once you get it up there, it'll pull the fan into the spot you need it to. Okay. There we have it. Looks like to be a spinning fan to me. Blades are on. Next step is install the light assembly. Then lights, then globe, and then power. So this is your light assembly. I don't know, let me see. Let me get, so these, see how those are open-ended connections? These actually slide into and there's little screws around, 3 little screws around here that you gotta take out because they're going to go in these little holes right here. So remove those little screws. This is really light, so all we have to do is find, so don't decap these. These are already capped off, kind of permanent wiring. These 2 open-ended ones you see, there's a blue and a white, and I got a black and a white on here. I'm sure if I look at my instructions here, remove the housing screws, which we did, connect the single fan black to blue and white to white, and then we're going to mount that sucker back up in there. Black to blue. I can't see though. There are actually a couple little grooves here, and there's a couple openings in this. So the grooves will go in and snap. So you got to line it up right. If you do that, then it goes in and snaps into place. Line the grooves up with openings. Put it in. There you go. And then gonna lift this up. I knew I was going to do that. So there's a opening right here. It has to go around the switch there. So I almost didn't notice that. Obviously it wouldn't fit if I didn't. But that's what I got to line up. And since I have no extra hands, I got to hold this with my And I went ahead and put this piece up and put the screws in right there around, and the bulbs I put in it. We got to put the globe on still. I wanted to show you closely. You see the little hole right there? If you don't put this chain through it, it'll be out here and it won't be able to pull down. So you have to feed this chain through that little hole, which is a little hard to do with a camera. See that? So then, when I go to put this globe on, those two holes will feed the chains down through those. So you just try to eyeball those two chains.
Looking good.
There you go. Just like so.
And if you'd like to subscribe to the video.
So you want to rotate the globe around so that this second hole, this second chain is straight down. It's not rubbing against the glass or anything like that.
Let's try to get to 150 subscribers.
And then this has the same two-hole design in it. You got to do the same thing with it. Just line it up perfectly straight. And then this is the nut, and this just goes on over the one chain. And you screw it tight, just like so. There you have it. And then over here, see this? This is the little remote that came with the remote we installed. I'll just put that again on the wall. It's got a little slot for it. So you can just leave it there. We'll try to turn it on. So I push the bottom button. There's the light. Then if I want the fan, I hit the top button. Boom. There you have it. So the fan is all installed. And I can take the remote wherever I want.
And also, if you want to smash the like button, you can smash it so hard to where it breaks open. Corny jokes.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for watching.
You can stop it.
Peace.